Okay, so since I'm not there today and we need to not lose a day of teaching, I need you guys to watch this short video and go through and fill in your notes with this video. So today we're going to work on multiplying and dividing rational or fraction expressions. Yesterday we worked on just simplifying them. So before you leave today, I want you to be able to make sure that you can work on the factoring part, canceling when it comes to multiplication, and multiplying straight across. You always want to make sure that you um, do the canceling part right here first and cancel out your common factors, because that will make that third step of multiplying straight across much easier. When it comes to division, right here, the only difference is that you want to make sure that you flip the second fraction. Basically, if it's a divided by b, and then you're dividing by another fraction, then it's going to become, leave the first one the same, then you're going to change this to multiplication, that's the changing the sign, and then you flip these two over. Okay, so this one flips over and this becomes multiplication. All right, so on the first one, canceling common factors. So the first thing that I generally do is I suggest that you look within each fraction. So see if there's anything within the first fraction that you can reduce. So 2 over 7 is as simple as it gets, and a squared can't reduce with anything. And then look at your other fraction and see if there's anything that you can simplify. And because 21 and 14 can both be divided by 7, you would want to go ahead and do that, just like what you did yesterday. So we're going to keep this first one the same. So we have our 2a squared divided by 7, but this is going to become 3 over 2, and then we have our a squared on the bottom. Okay, so we simplify. There's no factoring because there's no adding and subtracting. So the second step was to cancel, and then the third step is just to multiply straight across. So you're going to multiply the numerators together, and that's going to give you 6a squared over 14a squared. And now you can do the same thing that we were doing yesterday, which is look at your numbers, see if those can simplify, and look at your variables and see if those can simplify. 6/14 reduces to 3 over 7. And then because these are even Steven, they're just going to cancel each other out. So 3 over 7 is your final answer. Moving on to the second one. First fraction right here, then can simplify. But on the second fraction, you notice that you have a couple things going on. 3 over 27 reduces. So let's rewrite the first one since nothing simplified. 3 over 7 or 27, sorry, reduces to 1 over 9. And a over a squared is bottom heavy, so it's going to be 1 over 9a. Now, some people also, guys, like to, you look inside each fraction individually, then you can look top to bottom, like diagonally. So what I mean by that is like you would compare this 3a cubed to this one. Personally, like I think it's probably just as easy for you guys if you just go ahead and multiply everything together, then simplify. So let's go ahead and go straight across. So I have 3 times 1 gives me 3. There are no more a's, so it's going to stay a cubed. 2 times 9 gives me 18, and then there's just a single a. Then look at your numbers, and 3 over 18 can reduce, and so can a cubed over a. So 3 and 18 reduce to 1 over 6, and this is top heavy by 2. So writing it nice and clean gives us a squared over 6. Okay, these next ones rely on you being able to factor. So the first thing that we want to do is factor these like we were doing yesterday. Both this numerator and this denominator are a difference of squares. So we're going to change this to x minus 5 times x plus 5, because they're both perfect squares in the front and the back. This one is going to become x minus 2, x plus 2. and then this is multiplication between them, and then it's just the canceling game, so you can get slash happy. Tops and bottoms can cancel. So if I look, I start off in the top left corner with x minus 2, so I'm going to look below and see anywhere on a denominator, if there's an x minus 2, it can cancel. Jump to the top right, I have an x minus 5 and an x plus 5. So if I have either of those on any denominator, I can cancel. So that means this and this one can cancel. So all in all, that gives me x plus 5 left in the numerator and x plus 2 in this denominator. And that's my answer. Next one, we have some more factoring going on, but it's the other kind of factoring. So this one's trinomial factoring. Here I have GCF. Here I have difference of squares. So we have all kinds of different factoring going on. Another trinomial down here. So we have to make sure that we're really good at our factoring. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and factor this. Since 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 plus 3 is 6, this top side is going to factor to x plus 3, x plus 3. In the denominator, you have an x minus 3 and an x plus 3 times. Up here, we have a GCF of 3 that can come out, and that leaves us with x minus 3 inside. And then in the denominator, what multiplies to give me negative 3 but adds up to 2? How about x plus 3 and x minus 1? So now you can get slash crazy. X plus 3, I have one here and one here. Next, x plus 3, I have one in the numerator here and one in the denominator here. Moving along, I don't have anything to get rid of this 3, so it's going to stay put. However, I do have an x minus 3 in this numerator and in this denominator. And so I didn't have anything in the numerator to get rid of that. So my final answer is going to have a 3 in the numerator and an x minus 1 in the denominator. Okay, so here's the first time that we see division. So the same rules apply. If you don't see any adding and subtracting, you don't have to worry about factoring. But you do want to see if you can cancel within each fraction before you start anything. So 5 and 36 don't reduce. X's over Y's don't reduce. And on the other side, 25 over 6, same thing, nothing comes out of that. And then X's over Y's you can't do anything with. So you're going to rewrite this one on the left side. Don't do anything to it, just recopy it. Change this to multiplication. So here's the first change, multiplication, and then this second fraction has to flip over. So 6y to the 5th goes to the top, 25 x to the 3rd goes to the bottom. And then you can proceed with any multiplying and all that good stuff that you're doing. So you get your 30 x to the 5th. Remember, we go straight across now. 5 times 6 is 30. No x's and y's are going to combine on the top. Oh boy. Then we have 36 times 25. That's going to be a big number. Let's see. 36 times 25, 900. And then you have x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. So you're going to just do your reducing like you normally do. So I can cancel a 0. So 3 over 90 is going to give me 1 over 30. My x's here are top heavy by 2. And my y's are also top heavy by 2. So I don't really need that 1 there now, but for the sake of leaving it, it's not a big deal. Okay, you guys try this next one on your own and then check back. And by check back in, I mean hit pause, do the problem, and then come back and check it. So the first step that you would take is to flip that fraction over like it shows here in purple. Then the second step would be to multiply straight across. Hopefully you got to this point. So now you have a 1,176 over 14 that you need to reduce. So that equals, when you divide, should give you, or when you do your fraction 1 thing, that should give you 84. So that's going to be in the numerator. Your A's are top heavy by 2. Your B's are bottom heavy by 2. So here should be your answer. 84A squared over B squared. Same idea. Now we have adding and subtracting, which means that you're going to have to do your little factoring thing again, which I'm sure you love. Look at this one. You see a difference of squares. Here, I see a couple things, maybe, potentially. So the first thing I see is a GCF. So let's go ahead and factor these and see what we get. So hopefully you remember x minus 3x plus 3. X squared is in the denominator. No adding, subtracting means I can't factor it. Divided by x plus 3. And then down here, you can take out an x squared. That is common to both of them. And you get x minus 3. Now, let's go ahead and flip this stuff over. So I have my x minus 3, x plus 3. Remember, the first fraction doesn't change. Multiplied by, now we're going to switch this. This stuff moves to the upstairs. X plus 3 to the downstairs. So what we did was we flipped this one and changed that to multiplication. Now you can look top and bottom and see what you can cancel. So I have an x minus 3 in the numerator right here. But this x minus 3 is also in the numerator, so that can't cancel. I have an x plus 3 next, and that's numerator, that's denominator, so it can cancel. And here I have an x squared and an x squared, so those can cancel. So that leaves me with x minus 3 times x minus 3, because I have to multiply straight across in my numerator. And technically, you know, my denominator is over 1, but I don't really need that, so I'm just going to take that off if it's over 1. If that 1 was in the numerator, we'd have to have it. Oops. This one gets you guys every time just because of the way that it's set up. What you have to remember is that this middle fraction bar right here is the same as divide. So we can separate these two and write it like the previous problem. So the numerator would still be my x squared minus 9 all divided by 4. And then that middle fraction bar is divided by. And then I have my x minus 3 over 8. Okay, look to see if you can factor anything, which here's a difference of squares. So if that's a difference of squares, we're going to get x minus 3, x plus 3. And then nothing else changes here. I'm going to go ahead and switch these two and make this multiplication and then 8 over x minus 3. So you guys are probably at this point pretty good at doing the big ones like this. So x minus 3 top and bottom can cancel out. But if you look, I have an 8 over 4. So if you wanted to, you could type that into your calculator and do 8 divided by 4, math 1. What's going to happen is that it's going to give you 2 or 2 over 1. So this cancels out and leaves you with 2 in the numerator where the 8 was and 1 in the denominator. So now multiply straight across and you get 2 parentheses x plus 3 from the things that were left on the top, here and here. And again, on the bottom, all you have is a 1, which, just like the previous problem, you really don't need. So what you guys need to do now is take the homework assignment and complete that. Okay, that should finish up your notes. I will see you again tomorrow.